Alrighty, so I'm just going to go check and make sure my sound is recording, and it is, so I'm going to minimize that again. Alright, so today what I want to do is show you how to use some different effects that can be applied to your projects. You can see that I've already cut some pieces out of my original movie. Remember that original movie footage is called your raw footage, and these are what I call rough cuts. A rough cut is a piece of raw footage that you've pulled out from the rest of the footage. So I've got some rough cuts here that I'm going to be working with to teach you to use some effects. Let me just show you this first clip real fast. So here we've got this picture of Gru, and he's coming in for some kind of a landing or a crash or whatever he's doing. And I'd like to take that and show you how to make that look a little bit different. So I'm going to go down in here to the effects. There's all kinds of different effects that I could show you. The first ones that I'm going to show you, though, are under film effects. Not sure if anyone will be working on a project like this, but you could add this comic effect. Just pick it up, drag it out, and drop it on it. And it gives you this kind of comic book look. Okay? And if you don't like it, I'm just going to go down and go to an undo. And I wanted to show you another effect that's in there. If I go back to my effects, there's all different kinds of effects in here. Right now I'm just showing you a couple in the film look. Some of you might be working on a horror film. Okay, there's a couple different ways to do a horror film kind of a look. If I go out here and I pick this horror look and I drag it out there and I drop it on, you automatically see that it changed the tint. It changed it to make it look a little darker, a little deeper, maybe a little creepier. If I go out here, if I click on the video, and I go out here and click on the applied effects, it's going to show you every effect that is on it right now. All clips come with a motion and an opacity. When I added that horror effect, it put 2 effects on it. Now these effects get pretty intense. If I click on and open up the 3-way color corrector, there's some color wheels that you can begin adjusting your temperature. Okay, you can change different colors for midtones. If you move down into here, there's some different sliders you can change. Any one of these, if you change something and you don't like it, you can click on reset. Your midtones, this one's for highlights. So you make adjustments to your highlights, things that are brighter, things that are going to be more in the forefront. You can change the color, the temperature on those things that are highlights. If you don't like something you've done, you can always do the reset. You can also play with the color. In each one of those, these are little color swatches. So there's a lot of things you can do to mess around with in here. Anything you don't like, you can just reset. So if I just go down here and start kind of moving stuff around, and I increase this and I change that, you'll start to get all kinds of different looks. You can see some of my whites are over here turning kind of a pinkish because I'm up here in this pink range. Get into the green. Okay, so you can see how like stuff starts to change. I can even go up into here and change my highlights. Pick a different color. I'm just throwing something out at random. I get like kind of a red hue to it now. Anything you don't like, you can always go back in and reset your highlights, and it'll reset all that stuff. And I'm going to go ahead and reset that, and I think I messed with this one and reset that one. This one's a little more sophisticated to work with, but it's there. The split tone that was added when I added that horror effect combined with the 3-way color corrector, the split tone, maybe a little bit easier for you to work with. Again, it's got your highlights, it's got your shadows, okay, and it's got your balance. You can mess with your hue and your saturation. Remember that from Photoshop. You can change color of your highlights. You can change color of your shadows. Then you can adjust hue and saturation and then work with your balance as well. Okay? At any rate, you'll see it'll give you just a slightly creepier looking effect to it. I'm going to Control Z so that I get rid of those. I want to go to Gru. I need to see Gru's uniform. It should be a hot pink. Oh no, okay, there, I'm back to normal. Okay, so I'm back to the normal color. Another way to kind of make this look a little creepy, the yellow line on your video is your opacity line. Opacity means you can see it. If it's 100% opaque, you can see it. As you reduce the opacity, you increase the transparency. Transparency means you can see through it. So by decreasing my opacity, I am increasing the transparency. Notice that when I decrease the opacity, it made it look darker out here. And that can give you kind of a creepier look as well. Unfortunately, when you do it this way, you lose detail in the actual video. So the better way is to put that horror effect on. But this does a pretty decent job if you don't mind losing some of the detail in that background. Notice when I drag it back up, that detail comes back. So by trying to make it look a little creepier by decreasing your opacity, you're going to lose some details in the background. Truly, the horror effect is better. Okay? You can also stick a newsreel out there if you want to make it look like it's an old video. It just gives you that old video look. Okay? You can also go up here and just delete the effect. Trash it. Next thing I want to show you is a lightning. If I go into, instead of film looks, and I go into render, notice I can't teach all these. There's so many in there, it would take us the year to do it. So I just show you a few. If you know one or two, you start to figure out the other ones. Lightning, I'm going to go ahead and stick it out there. Lightning, will just put lightning on it. You can leave it that way. It doesn't do a whole lot. It's not very creative. It's not very exciting. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Or you can make some adjustments to it. I'm going to show you how to start making some adjustments to it. Okay, I like this where he's kind of looking at something. He's got kind of an evil eye in his face there. I'm just bouncing forward. Whoops. I'm bouncing back one frame at a time. That means one still picture at a time. All movies are based on frames, so picture by picture. Now I'm going to bounce forward. There, that's where I want it to start. Now I've got this lightning just randomly here. I'm going to click on lightning. I'm not going to mess around with anything here right now. Out on screen, you're going to see these two markers. Those of you up front can see them better. I can use those to put that lightning anywhere I want. So I can direct the flow of the lightning. In this case, maybe I want it to look like it's coming from Gru. And he's, using some kind of laser vision to zap something as he comes in for a landing or an attack or for a kill or something. Okay? And then I can start messing around with this stuff to create branches from the branches and change the color. And there's all kinds of things that you can do in here. You get down to the bottom, you can change the color of the outside, the color of the inside, that kind of stuff. Okay? Now, I'm going to go ahead and press play so you can see what that looks like. Well, already I don't want the lightning out in the middle of space. I only want it on Gru's eyes. So, I'm going to go back a little bit. And I'm bouncing forward frame by frame. That's where the first frame of Gru is. So I'm going to split clip. And then I'm going to go back to this clip and I'm going to trash the lightning. So that now the lightning only appears on Gru. But look, he moves. Well, that's no good. I'm going to go back a little bit. Forward. Okay, that scene, I don't want lightning there anymore. So I'm going to go back one frame. I'm going to split the clip. And I'm going to click on that clip and trash the lightning. So when he's no longer on the scene, the lightning's not there anymore. Now, I need this lightning to follow his eyes, but he moves. See? Now it's coming out of his forehead and then out of his chair. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bounce forward frame by frame. As long as that lightning is coming from his eyes, I'm happy. It's starting to come out of his forehead, so I'm going to split the clip. Click on the lightning. Move it to his eyes. Bounce forward frame by frame. It's coming out of his forehead again. Split the clip. Click on lightning. Bring it back down to his eyes. Move forward. Okay, it's on his forehead. Split the clip. Drag the lightning down. I'm just going to keep going frame by frame. Going to split the clip. Drag the lightning down. Frame by frame forward. Split the clip. Move it back to the center of his eyes. Frame by frame forward. Split the clip. Should be just about done with this scene. Okay, that's when it's getting ready to disappear. Now, let me show you the clip. Laser vision. And go in for the kill. Okay? Next thing I want to show you are slow motions, instant replays, and reverse speeds. So I'm going to show you this next clip. Comes in for his landing. And I put that in reverse. Let me show you how to do that. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit here. I want to get rid of that one. Comes in. Alright, so this is the original scene. To do what I'm going to show you, I am going to move these two out of the way, and I've got all this space in here to work with. I'd like to put this in slow motion. So I'm going to click on the clip. I'm going to right click, time stretch, and you'll notice that when I scroll over the duration numbers, a hand appears with an arrow pointing left and right. With that arrow, I'm just going to click and hold, and I'm going to drag it so it plays longer. I was at a little over 1 second. I'll put it to, let's go 6 seconds. And then I'm going to say, OK. Notice it expanded, made it bigger. And I press play, and it should be in slow motion now. Okay. If I want to bring that back, put it all together now. So he comes in slow motion for effect, and then continues on in regular speed. Okay, so slow motion. Another thing I want to show you is an instant replay. If I right click on that and I copy it, then I need to move my scrubber, my playhead, into the exact location where I want the instant replay to go, and then I click in the gray space. Edit, paste. So now I have created an instant replay. Click in the gray space. I've already copied it, so I can just edit, paste. Now I've got an instant replay of the instant replay. Something neat you can do with the clip in the middle, right click, time stretch, instead of putting it into slow motion, I can tell it to play in reverse. If you're going to play it in reverse, you're going to probably want to tell the sound, if you're keeping the sound, you're going to want to tell the sound to maintain its audio pitch, which means you don't want the sound to play in reverse. You want the sound to continue to play in forward motion while the video plays in reverse motion. And then I'm going to delete and close the gap there and put it all together, and then here's what we have with a reverse speed instant replay. Okay, so you can add some oomph to the highlight you were trying to show us there. So those are some effects that you can do. And then last, I wanted to show you how to do motion paths. I think it's this one. Oops. Alright, so I want to show you how to do a motion path. I've had students ask me, hey, I want to be able to zoom in on something or someone. How do I do that? Well, if I just play this clip, it's just Gru standing there looking into space. If I take this clip and I click on Applied Effects, and then I click on Motion, notice that my playhead is at the very beginning. If I go up and I click on Toggle Animation, it looks like a little tiny clock, like a little alarm clock. I'm going to click on Toggle Animation. You'll see it added all these little toggle animation clocks. What that means is the computer is going to begin adding keyframes. You can't see the keyframes like you could when you made your own keyframes on audio, but the computer recognizes those little keyframes. So I want the clip to start here, and so it added a toggle animation keyframe. But I want it to zoom in on him. So I'm going to move my playhead to the end of the clip, and I'm going to go up here to Scale, and I'm going to zoom in. Unfortunately, when I do that, it zooms in on his mouth. And I don't want it to zoom in on his mouth. I want it to be kind of more of his face, his eyes, not just his mouth. So now I'm going to create a motion path. Click on the video, grab the middle of it, and you can see it's drawing a line. That is the motion path that it's going to create. Okay? And that's at the end. So it's going to create a bunch of little keyframes for that motion. That's all I have to do. Now I press play. Okay? Play that again. Does that make sense? You've created a little motion path. Now, if you don't want that motion path in there anymore, if you're like, I want to change it, I want to redo it, you go up and click on your scene, on your clip, click on Toggle Animation, and it'll say, whoa, dude, if you do this, it's going to get rid of all the other stuff you've done. That's okay. You want to get rid of that. But it doesn't get rid of the zoom, so you're going to have to just go back to the normal window, move it back where it belonged. Okay? And then you add your toggle and start all over.